Say your name. My name is Mark. And
Take your time.
My story kind of deals a bit with racism. In the 3rd grade, this kid, he moved and he came to our school, and so he was a new kid and all that. And then I was like, hey, why don't I be like his friend, you know, because he doesn't know anybody here. And then I became his first friend. And then later on, in like 5th grade, like him and a group of like another person and like another person as well, but he wasn't very like involved in it. They used to call me like random like racist things. They used to call me like terrorist and stuff because I'm Syrian. And like some of them I didn't even understand. And they would like call me like random cuss words or whatever. And then I wanted to fight them and all that, and I just didn't know what to do. Like I wanted to fight them, but I knew I'd probably get beaten up because I'm really weak. So yeah. And I didn't do anything about it. I didn't tell the teacher. Nobody really saw it and stood up for me. And really, it was never resolved. And later on, like I started just like thinking, you know, whatever, I don't even care anymore, right? And I tried to be friends with them, but they'd still, like, you know, do that and bully me. And later on, in 7th grade, I didn't have these kids in my class anymore. But me and my friend, who's also Syrian, we're just talking in line, right? And this girl, she turns back to us. She's like, hey, you guys Syrian? We're like, yeah. And then she's like, I don't like you guys. She's like, I'm like, well, why? And she's like, because you guys are trash and you guys call us 9/11. I'm like, oh, well then. Not sure the kids, you know, back in wherever they are, know exactly what that event was, but you know. Yeah, and at that point, I just didn't know how to react to that. Like, should I get angry? Should I like try to make sense of like what was going on? Like, I didn't understand what was going on. Like, all I knew was that I was just being racially bullied. Yeah, and then then I just asked her. I was like, well, what? Well, necessarily are we people who did it? She's like, well, not necessarily you guys, but you know, it's your kind. So, and I didn't understand why that happened. So later on, like we went to our like guidance counselor, and then we ended up like they ended up finding her, and like I don't know what punishment she got, but you know. And then that kind of made me realize that there are people that like racism is like seriously bad, like just worse than like what you would think it would be. But like when you seriously experience it, it just makes you feel. It makes you just feel. I don't want to say bad because it makes you kind of violated, right? Like not necessarily, you know. I suppose we go that word. And
how did you resolve it?
How did that help you with learning what dignity meant and what it meant to?
Well, it made me feel like, yeah, that's exactly what I should say. It made me feel like I was stripped of my dignity, and it made me like see how, like as a child, when I would think of like America, I would think of like everybody is just a person. There's no race attached to them. If they're American, they're just American. They're just a person. It never made me like really think of race and discrimination. And like it just really opened my eyes to show that people, they may not even know you, but they'll just automatically judge you by like where you're from and just say wrong things about you. And so yeah, that's my story.